Welcome to the Booze Free Babes podcast for women breaking free from booze and stepping into their full potential. Join our sober sisterhood as we share stories, insights, and tips to help you thrive in your booze-free journey. Let's get bold, authentic, and booze-free together, babes. Good morning and welcome, babes, to the Booze Free Babes podcast. Today we have a guest, Hannah McKitrick, and she is our intuitive health coach. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to have her on. So, little quick story about Hannah. We actually just wrapped up a nutrition workshop for the Booze Free Babes community, and that was so much fun. I hope that she's going to be able to come back and do that again with us. And I'll just share a little bit about Hannah, and then we'll let you take it away. So Hannah is the founder of My Intuitive Health, is a transformational retreat leader and intuitive wellness coach who integrates emotional intelligence, holistic nutrition, and culinary arts to help women leaders, CEOs, and teams reconnect with their most aligned selves. She infuses fun into the health and business journey by crafting embodied experiences that promote physical, emotional, and energetic alignment. She leads mind, body, and soul cooking programs and culinary wellness retreats in Italy and Greece. Oh my goodness, that allows the participants to step into a lighter version of themselves. Hannah, we're so glad you're here with us today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for your enthusiasm, Ellen. I'm like, yes, let's go. Let's pump the fun.
I'm ready. Booze Free Babes, we are all about having fun. And if we can have fun with our nutrition, with our health, with cooking, let's do it. Like, I'm ready to go to Italy. Let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it.
So I want to chat just real quick for those of you that could not attend the workshop. Just walk us through that real quick. So basically what we were trying to do is just have a healthy example of how we can fuel our bodies while we're in early sobriety. So Hannah, I'll let you share with us what meal you made. That spaghetti squash was amazing. So tell us a little bit about that, and then we'll just kind of take it away.
So here's the thing with health and healthy food. For me, it is like one of the most fun aspects of my life. And I know people might hear that and be like, what the hell is she talking about? Like, healthy cooking's hard and boring and I don't have time for that. And I hear you. However, what these types of workshops do is it gives people a felt sense and experience, that embodied experience that you mentioned in my bio. That's what I love delivering to people so that they can feel it. Don't take my word for it. Come to one of these classes and engage all of your senses and experience that shift for yourself. So the shift that happens is that healthy cooking goes from something that feels like dreadful or boring or not creative or I don't want to do this, I don't have time, into something that literally expands you. It lights you up. You crave it. It tastes so good. It feels so good. And you intrinsically want to do it. And so the dish that I demoed was the spaghetti squash with a lemon basil pesto, some artichokes, some tomatoes, and some cheese, some Parmesan cheese, and a meal that's packed with vegetables. It takes 15 minutes to make, and it's so succulent. It's so crave-worthy. The flavors are so vibrant that the meal itself shifts your energy, but I like to also have the process of cooking shift people's energy into more groundedness, into the present moment, into their body, into that calm, peaceful Zen space that in early sobriety is in any journey. It's so needed, right? And so food, it's a microcosm. Like you can use a number of outlets to ground yourself down, to get into the present moment, to shift your energy. It doesn't have to be cooking, but the reason that I love to use cooking as the vessel is because it's a one-stop shop to shift you not only mentally, like with that groundedness and that presence, but also physically with the food that you're eating. And the process of cooking really is a form of meditation. It's a somatic experience and it's healthy, like in the way that I do it. I like to combine healthy foods with simple nutrition with flavor and like simple. And the way that people can entrain to that new relationship with food and that new way of being, a really fun practice.
That is so exciting. And I have to tell you, after that cooking demo, I went out and bought sun-dried tomatoes and artichoke hearts because I just didn't think about how they can be huge packs of flavor, huge
Mhm.
impact with fiber and nutrition, and we
Mhm.
can totally jazz up a dish with that. I love the approach to being methodical, calm, and it's almost like you are in a trance when I
Yeah.
see you cook. It is so cool because you're so calm and collected. And I'll just share, my husband is a retired chef and he's not calm and collected in the kitchen. Like he's used to high energy and high volume. So to see you at such ease in the kitchen, I think that's really beautiful. And I love the creative outlet. That's so amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that. So let's just chat about how we originally connected. So we're members of our female entrepreneur group, the Dames. But besides that, Hannah was embarking on a sober journey and we connected over that originally. So I think you were stepping out and embarking on some new things and just wanted to try something new. So I'd love to hear your feedback on how that went.
Yeah, so this is fun because this is something that I did under the table, and I have a decent relationship with alcohol. Like I'll have a glass here or there, but something happened in November. It was after Thanksgiving, and our relatives come in and we drank Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, and that's just too much for me, like 3 nights in a row. And so after that, I was like, okay, I'm going to take a week off. I just wanted to give myself like a 1 week reset. And then I was like, what if I just kept going with this? And one of my mentors at the time was like, what if you gave it 90 days? And I was like, oh, I started crying. I was like, that's too long. What about Christmas? And what about this? And like all the events that I had coming up that I would usually have alcohol for started like running through my head. And I was like, I don't know. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna do it. And then I just decided. And then when we met Ellen, I was, I don't know, maybe 2 months into that, because someone in the class had asked, because I talk a lot about intuitive health, right? That's the name of my business. And intuitive health, I have this whole process that I bring people through, the intuitive health blueprint that helps them to create this magnetic vibrancy in the kitchen without feeling restricted and with that food freedom so that they can really have it all. And then someone did ask the question, like, where does alcohol fit in? And so I said, of course, it's different for everyone. And this woman was like, I find that it lowers my vibration. And that was at the point that I was at in November. I felt like it was lowering my vibration. So I was like, I'm just going to give myself 90 days without it. And I did feel in those 90 days, it definitely was very eye-opening for me. And a couple of kind of takeaways is number one, I did feel more connected to myself and to my body and to my intuition, which for me is very important. I use my intuition not only for myself, but with my clients and in helping them achieve clarity and bringing in information for them. And so I definitely felt more tapped in. I felt more aligned. Like I felt like my actions were more congruent with my truth. It felt true for me to be taking that break. And the other piece that I realized was different activities that really did bring me that intrinsic joy versus activities where it felt like I wanted alcohol to like mask what I was doing and add that joy.
Wow, that's really insightful. I'm so excited about the fact that you just took this as okay, you know what? Let's be open and curious. Let's just try this and see what comes from it. Like, one, pat yourself on the back for just having that courage to try something new. And I think that's what makes life so much fun and enjoyable and entertaining is that trying new things, right? So I applaud you for taking that hat and wearing it and trying it on and seeing how it fits and recognizing all of those beautiful experiences that comes from that newfound clarity, right? And the intuitive piece, you really hit the nail on the head. And I know that's a huge focus for your business. So I don't want to just like glaze over that, right? I have to say, part of my early journey too, I was on a more of a spiritual journey, I would say, like during the pandemic, probably like a lot of us, that time frame, it was becoming quite aware to me that I wouldn't be able to tap in to some of those other resources outside of ourselves, like that collective, the intuitive that we can tap
Right.
into. For me, when I'm self medicating, like I'm not communicating with that inner voice. I feel like
Right.
it creates a blockage for having that clarity. And I love how you talk about like in the early sobriety or whatever, that you see that intuitive conversation really come online more, right? Like you can feel it.
Yeah, and I'm such a believer. Like, I'm obsessed with intuition and like universal intelligence. I love that. And the reason I love it is because it's the path of least resistance to our most joyful, fulfilled life. And the more that you can connect to that and listen to that and take action from that, the easier and faster you'll be manifesting the life of your desires in a really easeful way. And so I'm like, yeah, I want to be tapped into that. And I just thoroughly believe that our desires and our joy are synonymous with intuition. Just being able to follow that without the drama is a lot of the work I help people with on retreats, is like doing what feels good, like following that joy and listening to your intuition.
Following your bliss. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, from the intuition perspective, now do you feel like you have a deeper connection with self?
Yeah, I do. So, for instance, this week I ran one event for the Dames, networking event, and that was at night. And I'm someone like I like to be in my jammies at 7 p.m. and wind down and all that stuff. And so, a nighttime event during the week, like that's a lot for me. And then last night I signed up for another one, and both of these events were over an hour away. And it's just like a lot for me energetically. And so, yesterday I was like, why am I signed up for this event tonight? Should I actually go? And I checked in like with my intuition. And when I felt into the event, it was this full like expansion, even though it was going to be over like an hour and a half with traffic each way. But it just was like I was able to feel into the clarity of the situation from my own intuition. And it was a yes. And so I walk into this event, don't know anyone. The first woman I meet, we just start talking. And she was like, "Oh, I think I saw a post on your retreat," because I'm hosting a retreat for female leaders in Italy in November. And she was like, "Did you post about that in this Facebook group?" And I was like, "Yeah, I did." She's like, "Oh, I messaged you saying I wanted to come, but like I'm just figuring out my travel schedule." I was like, "Oh." And this is literally the first person that I met at this random event, and she's probably going to come to Italy with me. And so that's just a micro example of like the power of your intuition. Number one, being able to hear it clearly, and then number two, following it. It's like that's when the universe conspires in your favor like very quickly.
Absolutely. It's the action steps. I love that, that you checked in and like, okay, does this serve me right now going to this event, and being
Yeah.
able to clearly get that feedback from yourself,
Yeah, and
right?
by the way, they didn't serve wine at this event, which was actually really nice because I'm past my 90 days now. Like I can technically have it if I wanted, but it was so nice just to not even have the option there. And it was at a wellness studio and no one missed it. Like it was just being more present and more authentic with people and like in the moment and not masking it with anything.
I think it's really bold that these events are starting to eliminate alcohol, right?
Yeah.
That's a very bold move. And I think we're gone with the time frame of not offering something that's non-alcoholic, right? Like I feel like every space now seems to
Yeah.
offer something. But no, that's really exciting. I'm so fixated on the intuitive part of the conversation. And I know that's such a big part of your business and especially the retreats. I'd love for you just to give us a high level overview of what a retreat might look like and what's included in that. And then we'll definitely make sure we add your information at the end so people can
Yeah,
sign up if they're
absolutely.
interested.
Absolutely. So, what the retreats do is they raise the bar for the standard of your life, of how good it can get. And that's what it did for me. So, the reason I host a lot of my retreats in Italy is because when I was 23, I was working at a corporate job and I had this quote across my desk at my first cubicle, and it said, "Life isn't nearly as serious as the mind makes it out to be." And I needed that anchor because we, I think, as women in a society, just can get so bogged down in the day to day perceived heaviness when it's really not. It's a construct that we create of making things feel hard and all of this stuff. And so I ended up quitting that job and I went to culinary school in southern Italy. just because I wanted to, because it felt fun, because my intuition told me. And it
That's so
was,
cool. I just love that part of your story.
yeah. And I experienced a euphoria I didn't know existed. And what that experience did, it did not teach me how to cook. I learned that from Food Network, but it taught me a way of being, a way of living that set the bar for me for how good life could be. Like I was waking up every day to this beautiful, gorgeous view. I was with this like soul family and so deeply satisfied and fulfilled and engaged in my life. I was so turned on by life. And so what the retreats do is it gives women a taste of that so that they can embed that way of being into their body, into their knowing. And the retreat's intention is to help women step into the next level, their next up level, whether that's in their business, in their personal life, in their career, in their just attitude, like whatever that might be. And my method is desire-based frequency coaching. So we'll get intentional with like what it is you're wanting to create next, like what it is you're wanting to shift in your life, what it is you're wanting to add to your life, just to make it that much more exciting, and allowing yourself to feel that feeling and step into that. And what's not in resonance with that will naturally fall away, what's not in alignment with that. And so the retreat focuses on that. And we do some cooking classes with the culinary school because that allows you to get out of your head and into the present moment, into creativity, into your body. And then the other part of it is fun, like having fun and literally like conditioning yourself back into the joy that, again, I think society can decondition out of us, of like it has to be serious, you have to force, like you have to push. And it's no, joy is actually the path of least resistance to your most aligned life. So let's go have fun now. And instead of forcing something into being or fixing yourself, like it's not about fixing yourself, it's about literally going with this community of heart-centered women, connecting deeply, having fun. We do different like farm to table restaurants, day trips, olive oil tastings, like parties on the terrace, appetizers and cocktails and mocktails, all the things. And yeah, that's a little bit about what the retreats are. And I do like to emphasize in the retreats, I teach this method called the joy compass. And the joy compass is synonymous with your intuition. And so it's teaching women that if something feels heavy or forced, that's not a sign to keep forcing. It's a sign to either shift or shed it. And when something feels really good, go keep doing that. If something feels exciting, go do that. That is your intuition talking to you.
Buying a home or investing in real estate doesn't have to feel overwhelming. At Fraser Lending Group, we're all about guiding you to smart, stress-free financing solutions. I'm Ellen Fraser, mortgage broker who understands your goals and speaks your language. We make homeownership and real estate investing simple and attainable. So whether you're a first-time home buyer or growing your real estate portfolio, we'll find a mortgage strategy that works for you. Because at Fraser Lending Group, your success is our mission. Follow your bliss and finding your joy. I love it. So something came up for me when you were sharing, and I just wanted to bring attention to it. When my therapist, last year I was going through a lot of grief and loss, and my therapist asked me, what is it that I enjoy doing, right? And I said at that time it was walking my dog on the beach because she had cancer and I knew she had short time left. Anyway, so finding my joy, right? Walking my dog on the beach. It was just that simple. And I called her one day, we had a session or whatever. And she was like, what brings you joy? And I'm like, walking my dog. And she goes, then maybe you just need to go do that. And it was that.
What a novelty.
It was such a simplistic message, but I have carried that with me to this day because it really is important that we focus on the fun. And it's not just, hey, we're Boost Free Babes, we want to have fun. No, there's a reason. There's a methodology behind having fun and seeking out joy in your life. And usually when you're following those little breadcrumbs of joy, it leads you to something much bigger and greater. Would you agree?
Oh, totally, totally. And it is a process of training your mind to reach for happier thoughts and training your nervous system to be able to receive more joy, because it can be scary to not stay in the thought loop of suffering, because that is how we are conditioned. That's familiar. And when you start thinking happy thoughts, it's like, what if this doesn't work out? Well, what if this doesn't happen? And I'm getting myself excited for something, but no, like it's just the happy thoughts are you being in resonance with your inner being. You're meant for that. We all are.
Wow, Hannah, that's beautiful. That is
Mm.
so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to ask you a little bit more about was the joy compass. Now, if this is a technique that you say for your retreats, you don't have to share it with me
Oh
to
my God.
encourage
No,
everybody.
I'll give you all the dirty details.
Okay, great. I was going to say I might just have to go to Italy to learn.
Yeah. I can't give you the dirty details of the euphoric views in Italy unless you're there, but like the joy compass we can chat about.
Okay, cool. Tell us all about the joy compass.
Yeah. So this came to me honestly through lived experiences. And I found that everything that was the best part of my life thus far has been for me following a non logical, non linear desire and then going and doing it, like quitting my job and going to culinary school. I quit another job a couple years later to go study at the Academy of Healing Nutrition and get my yoga teacher training. And even with starting my business, the way that my business had its most success was me doing what I thought was the most fun thing in the entire world. And I didn't have a marketing strategy. I didn't have an email list. I didn't even have a website. And I was making six figures in my first year by following this joy. And then as my business progressed and as my life progressed, I realized, like all of the successful things, not only in my life, but other people's lives that I've observed, none of that comes from force. None of that comes from pushing. If you think of the most successful people, did Oprah force her way to the top? No, it's not. Like you can't force something into being. And if you are, that's not locking step with universal intelligence. And so what the joy compass does is it's an emotional guidance system that connects you to your inner being, which is connected to universal intelligence, which is connected to the path of least resistance and like the fastest path to your desires, if that makes sense. I'm getting a little meta here, but like hopefully
No,
people.
I'm following along. We're
Okay,
way
okay,
through over here.
perfect. And so what the joy compass does is similar to what I was saying earlier. So if something is feeling heavy or forced, and let me see if I can think of an example. So for me, I'll use my business example. So I used to do this program called Cook Well, and it was an 8-week program. And women would come in who wanted to have more fun in the kitchen, not feel constrained by diets, have some accountability for cooking well. And it was a really fun program. Like I really loved it. And I loved teaching these women, and they were having profound results. And it was over the summer, and I was going to write some launch emails for this program. And I'm a hard worker. Like I can bust things out, but I was just like, I can't do this. This feels so hard. And then all of a sudden I took a step back and I was like, okay, what is this wisdom here? Like, why does this feel so hard? What needs to shift or what needs to shed? And then I realized I don't want to be doing these launches anymore. Like, I don't want to always be launching and always be filling. Like, that just felt so stressful to me. And so, what I ended up doing is I shifted my business model and I created a cook club instead, an ongoing cook club that anyone can join at any time. It's a monthly membership. We have once a month live class and weekly recipes. And that way, it's just always running and it's always going. And I'm not having to launch every couple of weeks. And so, this is one part of the joy compass, which is when something feels heavy or forced, that's your signal. That's your signal that something needs to either shift, like I shifted my model, or shed, like just completely release it or outsource it. This is so that you can stop trying to control so many things and instead listen for the intelligence. Because when something is feeling that off, it's simply a signal. It's simply a signal that there is a more aligned way to do it in a way that feels lighter. And when it feels lighter, that's your intuition speaking to you. When something feels like more open, more expansive, less like forcing it, that's simply your intuition. Does that make sense for that component of it?
It so makes sense, especially when you mentioned shift, shed, and outsource. Like, I want
Mm-hmm.
to come back to that for a second. Or maybe that's a whole nother topic for offline, but you're speaking my language and where I'm at right now. Yes, keep
Yeah.
going.
Yeah, and the same thing goes with health too. Like I tell people, if making dinner every single night feels hard, we can shift that. And sometimes it's shifting the pathway there, and sometimes it's shifting the mindset. So the pathway there would be buy pre-cut butternut squash, buy store-bought organic dressing, buy the lettuce that's already chopped, like having these things so that it feels easier versus trying to make a 10-course meal every single night. Let's shift the pathway, shed it. Like maybe you do outsource it, maybe you do hire a private chef, whatever that might be. So that is one component of it. The other component of the joy compass is when something feels good, go do that and go do that on repeat. And so even if you're in the process of deciding what to shift or how to shift something, the process is by tuning in and seeing what feels lightest to me, what feels the most fun. And that's your answer. That's literally your answer.
And then just go do that,
And
right?
then just go do that.
Wow.
And even like the women, like when they're deciding to come on retreat with me, the women that are like, I just really want to do this. And I'm like, okay, then let's do it. And then they do, and they have these profound shifts, these profound experiences. They meet their next clients, they have their next business breakthrough. It's like, you don't know why it feels joyful, but if it does, like you're meant to be there and you're meant to experience that because that is the universe trying to communicate to you by what is lighting you up. That's literally your signal.
I love that. And I want to make a quick comparison. So in human design, I'm a projector and I have emotional authority. And
Me
so,
too.
oh, great. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. What I was going to say though, is that I tell people like my emotions are my superpower, right? Because
Yes.
they indicate to me whether I'm on the right path or not. And my day job, I'm a mortgage broker. So sometimes that doesn't always feel fun.
Yeah.
And whenever I find myself in a moment when I'm experiencing intense emotions, I just take a step back for a second because I'm recognizing that, okay, what is my body, my human design trying to tell me right now? This is an indication that something's not working. Now, I still have a job to do. I still have a business to run. I still need to be attentive to that and my clients and everything else. But in that moment, it's just a quick flip of a switch that I can tell myself now because I'm a lot more mindful about it or being self aware of it. Okay, what is not in alignment in this moment? Let me just take a step back. Maybe I need to just walk around the block, maybe just take a deep breath, grab another cup of coffee, whatever it is, but allowing myself in that moment, if I'm having a strong emotional response to something, there is a reason.
Yes.
Listen to that.
Yes.
And for me, I call it my emotions. For you, you're calling it your intuition. I think that they're two different things and also two similar things, right? I think that they overlap in a lot of way, but they have their own function. But for me, just the container that I feel like I'm experiencing within my own body, this basket of all the emotions and sometimes all at once, it's really intense and it can be intense. And especially for folks in early recovery that they're just learning how to navigate these emotions. I know that was my own personal experience is that when I self-medicated, it was usually to get away from these intense
Right.
emotions.
Right.
So now recognizing that it is a part of my human makeup and part of my human design that I'm given these emotions as a beacon, as like a
Mhm.
legend to a roadmap. And so if I can just stop, listen, and then redirect however I need to. And that's similar to what you were saying about shift, shed, and outsource.
Yeah, and that's exactly it, Ellen. And one of the reasons I love working with food and not just mental alignment, but physical alignment, like feeling good in your body, is because the more connected and tapped in you are to your body, the more grounded you can be in those emotions. Like, yes, we're meant to experience the range of human emotions, like we just are. And they have so much intelligence to them. And the more grounded that you are in your body, in your vessel, in your being, in your mind, the more that you can take those emotions and let the discomfort of them be just enough to signal, oh, this is what I want. This is what I don't want. Like, I'm going to move over here and I'm going to leave that over there. And it's like you can engage with the emotions from a much more grounded space when your body is grounded. Like when you're feeding yourself these high vibrational foods, these vegetables, these whole foods, flavor, like it's all connected.
I love that. There's so much to just finding joy in a creative way.
Yeah.
Recently, my mom lives with us, and so we've been coloring at night. And I know that's just like a small, simple thing, but it takes me out of my head
Yeah.
and allows me to be creative in a way that sometimes I don't get to do during the day. And I
I
feel
love
like
that.
your cooking workshops are like that. Like you bring us to a place. I just remember that from your workshop, how calm you were in the kitchen. And it was beautiful watching you create, allowing that creativity to shine through. We all had fun. It was virtual, so we didn't get to taste the food. That's the only thing. I wish
Yeah.
we could have cooked
Well,
along with
typically, Ellen, they are classes, and typically people, like in my cook club, people get the recipe and the shopping list, and they get the ingredients that we then cook together so that they actually have the food in their kitchen and are tasting the end product. So,
Okay, so you guys, that's a shout out. Be sure to check it out so that way you can cook with her, right?
yeah,
That sounds like so
exactly.
much fun. And I'll do that next time. I want to try that next time where I'm cooking along with you.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think
you have a 1 month free trial. Everyone, I have free trial because, I run the thing, but people can have a 1 month free trial.
that is so fun. Wow. Everybody go check it out. Where's the best way that they can sign up for your club?
It's just on my website, myintuitivehealth.com.
Okay, myintuitivehealth.com. We'll make sure to share that with everyone also when this episode airs. So thank you so much, Hannah, for coming on today. I really appreciate you sharing your zone of genius with us, especially around food, creativity, and at the end of the day, the most important aspect is joy, right? Finding our joy and having so much fun doing it. If there's anything that you could leave us with today, with any babes that are maybe on their journey, they're just embarking on
Yeah.
this, and what would you like to share with them?
Yeah, I'm just present to thinking of your role in this bigger picture and how by being the support for these booze free babes, like you're giving people the chance to clear the illusion of joy and step into their most true and authentic, like actual joy, not the fabricated joy from substance, but actually authentic joy in the moment with what they're doing, with what they're passionate about. Like you're giving people a vessel to cultivate that on their own. I think that's amazing. And like more of that, right? More of tuning into what is actually bringing you joy. Like it could be coloring, it could be cooking, it could be walking, and just giving that space for someone to like quiet the noise, quiet the substances. And then at the end of the day, they're just left with themselves, and themselves can be a really fun place to be, like a really fun place to be. And you're helping people tap into that. So
Thank you so much. That means so much to me, Hannah. It really does. To say it's a passion project is not a big enough word. It's not even a big enough word. It's changed my life, and it's continuing to change it every single day, especially with these conversations and meeting people like you. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for coming on the show. And myintuitivehealth.com, guys. Go check out Hannah.
Let's have
She's
some fun.
amazing.
Thanks, Alan.
All right. We'll say goodbye for now, but don't think this will be the last time that we'll be chatting.
Yeah, absolutely. Bye.
All right, babes, that's a wrap on this week's episode of the Booze Free Babes podcast. To learn more about the Booze Free Babes, check us out online at boozefreebabes.co. You can also find us on Instagram at Booze Free Babes Podcast. If you're interested in joining our private Facebook group, we invite you to do so. Thanks again for listening, and until next time.